Swing and a drive. You can forget about this one, folks. 3-run homer way up there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Blue Jays Way channel here. Chris here with Daniel, and we're talking about Blue Jays today.
You are really struggling with the name change, eh?
I am. Every single time.
But, I mean, now that we're almost fully Jays-based here, guys, free agency's kicked off. There's already been a couple moves. Chad Green to the Jays. At the time
Well, he was already there, but...
Well, Chad Green re-signing with the Jays then.
Yes.
But why not talk about 5 players that the Jays should target this offseason, Chris?
I agree. I like targeting players, and there's a lot of players that I want to target, so we'll go with that.
I think free agency, and especially MLB free agency, is one of my favorite times of the year because there is so much possibility. Right? Like, think about last year at this time.
Crazy.
The Jays were so close to getting Verlander, right?
That's like every year, isn't it?
That's like every year, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's it's my favorite thing. It always gives me a little bit of hope, and then knowing in typical Toronto fashion, nothing will happen, right?
And then we just get like shot in the head, and it's like, oh, you don't get Verlander, you don't get Otani, you don't get, there you go. You don't get Mike Trout. It's devastating.
Exactly. But let's speculate here. Here is, I guess, if me and Chris were the GMs of the Jays, these are 5 guys that we would target, Chris.
Yes.
I will preface, we'll say honorable mention to start this video here. Shohei Otani. Obviously, he's the big fish on the market right now. Jays are very heavily linked to him. Let's be real, Chris. If you're a GM, everyone should be trying to get Otani.
Yeah, I think the only teams that aren't going to go for Otani are like Oakland and maybe the Rays, but that's about it. I mean, every team should at least throw out a competitive offer. You don't want to what's it called? What's it when you make somebody mad? You don't want to upset the guy. Yes, give him a bad offer, right? You don't want to give him like a 10-year, $100 million contract. You're not going to throw that out there. That's just disgraceful. You're going to throw out like a $400 million contract for 10 years.
Yeah,
so,
I think everyone will tap into. Like, I think Otani's agent's going to hear from every single team, regardless if it is the A's. Even though, let's be real, he's not. The A's are not going to spend money.
They're going to be like, hey, by any chance,
you want to come on a team-friendly deal of like $65?
You want a 1-year prove-it deal? We got you. You know, one of those.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's be. The agent's going to be busy. He's going to hear from all 30 teams, I think. I know there was a list of teams that came out that are heavily pursuing him or the favorites. I know it was like the Yankees, the Mets, the Angels again, the Jays, Dodgers. There was a bunch of other teams in there. So
yeah, I think it's most likely that he goes to the Dodgers. But I mean, if he can go anywhere else besides the Yankees, I'll be okay with that.
I think also this Otani contract could be very different because he is going to go for Tommy John, right? So you're not going to get the pitching part. So I wonder if that's going to play into the factor for the value.
Yes, but there will be a team that says, I'm still going to pay you for that because I want you on.
Exactly. Who knows what could happen with Otani? But honorable mention, we're not going to put him on here because he's basically a given.
Yes.
I'll start with this, Chris, before we say it. There were 2 main problems I see with this team going in the offseason. Number 1 is power.
Yep.
The Jays need power. I don't know when the last time I said that was, but
20.
I can't even think of a time that I said that with the Jays team. Right?
I don't know.
They've always been known for hitting power, and really, we don't have it last year at all. We need a cleanup stick as well. Obviously, third base as a whole. Realistically, with the guys on the market, if we're not getting Chapman back, I really don't see anyone else in that.
Yeah, there's Heimer, Candelario, but like honestly, at this point, just promote within or make a trade
or put Espinal there, right? At this point, or bring up a prospect like Arelis Martinez, right?
Yes,
or Addison Barger. So
yeah.
Besides third base, bullpen. I think bullpen is it's a good bullpen. Don't get me wrong. However, the Jays are missing one thing, I think, and it's a shutdown guy, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a guy that Don Schneider can just throw out there in the 9th inning and it's going to be game over, right? Like, we don't have like that Aroldis Chapman or that Andrew Miller that when the Jays were competitive in 2015, 2016, those guys were dealing.
Yeah, we don't have one of those guys. Like a Josh Hader, he's on the market this year. He'd be really good to have there.
But we'll start with him. That's one of our targets here, Josh Hader, Chris. I mean,
I love Josh Hader.
He's been linked to the Jays in the past for trades.
Yep.
He's been on our channel, one of the guys that we've always said the Jays should get. I think if they're going to spend any big money on another bullpen arm, Josh Hader would be my go-to guy.
Absolutely. I'm huge on Josh Hader here, and I want him on this team. He's shut down. He'd be the closer. I don't care what we do with Romano. Josh Hader's your guy. Like, you throw him in the ninth, you know you're going to get 3 outs. Maybe you'll have 2 or 3 blown saves a year, but Romano has like 6 or 7 blown saves almost a week. So, like, I want Josh Hader so bad.
I think if we get one thing that drove me nuts about Jordan Romano this year, and it drove a bunch of our friends nuts, especially our guy Logan. Shout out you, Logan. Was the walks. Every outing, it seemed like Romano had to walk the first 2 batters.
Yeah, Walker a leadoff double. It's always one of those two.
There had to be a runner at first and second, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely, every time. Yeah.
Josh Hader, you don't want that stress. You want to throw this guy out there, and it's game over. I'm just looking at Hader's stats from last year, Chris. Like 33 saves, 1.1 WHIP, 1.28 ERA. Those are closer numbers to me.
Those are beautiful numbers, and I want that on my team. I want it.
Now, what do you think? I don't know what we would have to offer Hader, though. That's the only thing. I feel like it's got to be at least 3 years.
Yeah, how old is he? Like 31 now, 32?
Probably mid-30s. I can look up his age really quick. Well, 29. He's going to turn 30 next year.
Oh my god, I'd give him a 5-year deal. Screw it. I'd give him a 5.
I love it. Honestly, like, if he's going to come here, might as well.
Yeah, if he's going to be your closer, you let him be your closer for 5 damn years, and I don't care what happens. I believe he's the same age, or if not younger than Romano, so why not? Like, give him money. I don't care. He's so good.
And he's proven it. He's been good almost every year. Yeah, there was that little hiccup last year, but every single year he's been very, very good. This guy is one of the best closers in the game right now.
If not the best.
If not the best right now. So I agree with you. I don't know what the money's going to be, but apparently they're looking to spend a lot of money this year. So who knows what they're going to do. But Hader's definitely on top of our list, I think.
Absolutely, 100%.
Another guy on the list, Chris. I know you're very big on him here.
Ooh, who is it?
And that's Horry Solaire.
Yes, I want him so badly.
Like,
the Toronto Blue Jays' biggest issue last year was not having a cleanup hitter, and we put Varsho there, that ruined him. We put Chapman there, that kind of ruined him. It put too much pressure on them. They tried to hit home runs when they just couldn't do it, right? We need a guy who could just hit you 30 plus home runs a year and who could just absolutely hit freaking nukes, right? And that guy is Horry Solaire. Last year with the Marlins, who sucked, by the way, they made the playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. You're just in a habit now of saying the Marlins.
Yeah, sorry, my honest mistake. 36 nukes, 75 RBIs. That's all I want, and that's the Marlins. They don't get on base. They just have really, really good pitching. The Jays, the top of their order, they get on base. It's just after that, it's just a double play every time. So if we can have a guy who hits an absolute nuke, which this guy does, Horry Solaire. He hit 48 home runs in 2019 with the Kansas City Royals, might I add. And then he hit...
Big ballpark, by the way.
Massive ballpark.
Big ballpark.
Massive ballpark. He hit 36 this year in Miami, which I believe is a sort of pitcher-friendly ballpark as well. Like, put this guy in Toronto and he'll probably hit like 35-plus home runs.
As well, you're going to put this guy behind, let's say, Vladdy, right?
Yep.
In the 4 spot. Vladdy's now going to have to see more pitches. Vladdy's going to you're going to give Vladdy protection. We've said this before on the channel. Vladdy is a great player, don't get me wrong. But Vladdy cannot be the protector. He's got to be protected.
Exactly. And why do you think he was so good in 2021? He had Simeon hitting in front of him and Teoscar hitting behind him. And then Gurriel hitting behind Teoscar. And Kirk hitting behind Gurriel, right? And then they're all having good seasons. So you can't just have a guy like Matt Chapman and Varsho back-to-back, who all you need to do to get him out is throw them both high fastballs. Also, Horry Solaire can nuke high fastballs, which is great. So also throws a little bit of a pitch mix because Vladdy, basically the whole Jays team gets out by a high fastball. So throw someone in there who nukes high fastballs, there's another spanner in the works there as well. So getting Horry Solaire, like I said, 1, you get RBIs, 2, you get home runs, and 3, you get like a 340 on base percentage, which is pretty solid as well.
As well, Chris, you're getting a guy who, 1, is going to be probably your DH, but as well can play a little outfield. And we do need an outfielder with the probably Kiermaier leaving, let's be real.
Yeah, like throw this guy in left field, right? And then like platoon him with like Cabin in defensively, right? Like every once in a while, something like that. That would work.
Or I was going to say another guy on this list who's kind of like Horry Solaire. I think will be probably a little bit more expensive than Horry Solaire, but familiar to the Jays is Teoscar Hernandez.
Ah, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Another guy who we just said.
Get them both. Get them both. Holy cow.
Honestly, they really could. Think about it. We need another outfielder. We need 2, really. Think about it. You need an outfielder and you need a DH. Jorge Soler could definitely
Belt's
be the DH,
or
and
Teoscar.
Teoscar could definitely play the outfield. You have Teoscar back here with Jorge Soler. One, you've just added a total of almost 60 home runs to this lineup.
Yeah, for real.
that
You
weren't
had
hit
30.
last year.
You had 36 and 26 bombs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
And that was Teo having a bad year too at the start of the year, by the way.
yeah.
Like,
He got
remember
hot.
he was hitting
got
a
hot.
point like a buck.
Yeah, and
So-
Teo. Do you know Teo loves to hit at the Rogers Center? By the way, so I'm just saying,
Yep.
just put it back there.
I mean, look at his stats from the year with Toronto. Like,
Which
let's
one?
take the last. We'll use his 2022 stats, right? Which is considered a down year for him here. 267, 316 on base, 491 slugging, hit you 25 home runs. Like,
He did play 131 games though, so he did miss almost 30.
yeah.
So
You go to the year before where he's hitting. He played 145 games, Chris. I mean, 32 home runs, All-Star that year, 100 plus RBIs, 296 average, 346 on base. Like,
Teoscar, man, and the OPS of above 800 is something that I love to see. I think Bo was the only guy on our team besides just Brandon Belt who had that this year as well. So give us two guys like that. Like you said, 60 home runs there. Teoscar had 93 RBIs this year in a down season with the Seattle Mariners. He's a run producer. You put Teo in the 4 spot, Jorge Soler in the 5. That is so much protection for Vlad. So Vladdy's going to have to see pitches. And when Vladdy sees pitches, he hits them. When he gets those sliders outside or the high inside fastball that he always whiffs on or pulls down the line into a double play, he won't get those anymore because they're going to want to pitch to Vlad to get him out, right? And then after that, they got Teoscar and they got Horry Solaire. And then you even have, like I said, Dalton Varsho, Kirk, Danny Bonds, all those guys back there as well, which is awesome.
The only thing I would say, if they do get both of them, if not one of them, it is a very right-handed heavy lineup at the start. Right? You got Springer, you got Bo, you got
That's
Vladdy,
fine.
and
I don't care.
Either of those guys are right-handed. But honestly, at this point, like the mixing of lefties did not work.
It did not.
Oh.
It was useless.
Like, I'd rather at this point go for what's proven. Hey, I know this guy's gonna hit me 30 plus bombs like Jorge Soler, or I know this guy's gonna hit me almost 30 bombs like Teo. Yeah, they might hit like 260. But at least they're going to drive in our runs. Like,
yeah, like Soler had what, 70 RBIs this year? Teo had 93. Like, bro, that's like 160 RBIs that we just didn't have this year, pretty much.
You put that on the Jays, I bet you that number increases by 20 for both. I really do.
Yeah, especially
a lot of Solaire's bombs. Sorry for the speaking there. Solaire's bombs were solo shots.
Well, yeah, he had 36 and like 72 RBIs. Like, yeah, half of them. Like, how is he only double that?
Let's say even half of those are 2-run shots, right? That's an extra 15 RBIs for him at least.
Exactly, which phenomenal. We'll take that.
Those two guys, they're probably going to, from what like Fangraphs is predicting, they're roughly looking at both about somewhere between the $14 to like $17 million range for their contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would give them in term. Probably like 4 or 5 years, I would say each. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll take it. Like, whatever. We got the money to spend on them, so it's fine. Fine by me.
Let's move on to this guy here, Chris. He is an XJ, this person, actually, just like Teo.
A lot of XJs on this list.
A lot of XJs, I know. But this guy really wasn't the same with the Jays until he went out elsewhere, and that's Liam Hendricks.
Liam Hendricks.
Like, this is similar to Josh Hader that we were talking about. Mm-hmm. Jays don't have a shutdown guy for the 9th. I'm sorry, Romano. You are not the closer. If this team is going to win a World Series, Romano cannot be the closer.
Yeah, I know. And I'm
as much as I want it to happen. Like, as much as I want it to, right? Because he's Canadian and all this. He could be the 8 guy.
Please put him in the 8. I'm fine with that. Just let him.
He could be the 8 guy. He cannot be the 9.
Let him be the guy that gets out of jams because that's what he was really, really good at doing last year.
Honestly, they should just start bringing him on with like bases loaded at this point. Like,
bases loaded, no outs. Romano, we're good. You know he's not giving up.
Oh my god!
It's just gonna be nervous as hell. Yeah.
So back to Liam Hendricks. Yeah, he didn't pitch this year, unfortunately, because of the big C word. But came back at the end of the year, looked pretty decent on a contract. Could be a cheap deal, right? Because he's coming back off the injury.
Yeah, Hendricks is looking average. They're saying is market value is about 9.7 mil, and then Hader's about 17 mil. So
definitely a cheaper option than Hader, and probably has just as much upside, I would think, Chris.
Yeah, the only thing Hader is just like 5 years younger, but other than that,
yes. Obviously, if you get Hendricks, we're not offering a 5-year deal, probably
3-year deal max,
2 or 3-year deal. But like I said, I think if you get either Liam Hendricks or Josh Hader, your bullpen's done for the.
Oh yeah,
offseason. You
100%.
re-sign everyone else, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that.
Right.
I just want to just make the bullpen just a little bit better. You know what I mean? Just a little bit better.
If you think about all the good bullpen teams in the playoffs, where the bullpen's been dominant, they always had a 1A, 1B kind of thing.
Yes.
And that's what
Except
I think the Jays need to do here.
Except this year, right? Because it was just mainly Jose Leclerc for Texas. But
except I mean Will Smith and Chapman
right.
were also in there, which are
Chapman
right?
was
They're
there
pretty
too.
good pieces.
Yeah,
and
once
the
upon a
Jays
time.
don't really have that.
They're
I think
star
Tim
names.
Hendricks. We'll see what happens. He could definitely be a nice piece. Last guy on this list, Chris. And if you asked a year ago we would have been split on it. If you ask us both this year, we are definitely both in on this person, and that's Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I kind of fumbled the bag last year. I'll admit that. I did not want Cody Bellinger on the Blue Jays. And then after seeing him play this season, I want him on the Blue Jays.
I told you he was coming back for a bounce back year. I told you.
Yeah.
He solves a lot of problems. He really
lefty
does.
batter, lefty thrower, plays the outfield. He's 28, hits nukes, gets on base, drives and runs. Like, what else do we really want, right? And his market value apparently is only $22 million. He's going to get paid more than that because the market value is pretty low this year for players. Yeah. But he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid probably
Bellinger
7-8 year deal.
Bellinger stats last year, Chris: 26 homers, 97 RBIs, 20 stolen bags, by the way. And
look at that.
He hit 300. I didn't even know that. He hit 307 with a 356 on base and a 525 slugging.
That's a season right there with an 881 OPS.
Right? Yeah. Like, that is close. That's just as good as his MVP year, almost, by the way.
Well, he hit 47 nukes, but that was 2019.
Like 20 more home runs, but I mean, all the other stats are roughly the same.
Yeah, they are, like minus OPS, but that's because of the home runs. But yeah, everything else,
he gives the Jays a lot of options. Like he said, we're really kind of looking for another center fielder. We're looking for another outfielder in general. Even two, maybe, because let's be real, this is Springer's, I think, last year on his deal, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe he's got one more.
Or may have one, but he's getting up there in age. He's not the same George Springer that we signed.
2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Yeah, he's got one more after this.
He's got one more? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to need a George Springer replacement soon. This could be the next 5-6 year deal the Jays offer for an outfielder.
Please. If you're not going to extend Bo or Vlad, give Bellinger a 6-7 year deal at this point.
And honestly, as much as the media hates on Varsho, right?
Easy.
Bellinger at one point was basically Dalton Varsho, by the way. When the Dodgers released him, but his floor is still higher than Varsho's average, I would say, this year.
I mean, Bellinger's floor was a 165 batting average with a 240 on base percentage in 95 games in 2021.
Still hit 19 home runs. Still hit 19 home runs, by the way. So.
Oh no! He had 10 home runs that year. 19 the year after.
My bad. I was looking at 2022.
Which 2022 was still really bad too.
Yeah.
But
sometimes so this guy can go both ways, right? Yeah. But at least he's going to give you Gold Glove defense out there.
Yeah, I mean he's won one Gold Glove in his life. So
I think so.
Yeah, he won one in the MVP year. Who would have thought? Yeah. So yeah.
And I mean we're losing Brandon Belt, right? Mm-hmm. I don't see the Jays re-signing him. This guy could also be your backup first baseman.
Yeah, he plays a lot of positions, no? Outfield and first. Is that what he does?
Yeah, and center. The Jays love versatility, right? So
yes, we do. We are big on that.
I know they've been linked to him, and I know their backup option is Jock Peterson.
Yes.
Who I'm not
or
Teo. Yeah, there's Solaire, but I mean Bellinger could be a very nice piece of this team, Chris. Imagine a lineup with Springer, Bo, Vladdy, Belly, and then let's say Teoscar in the 5.
Oof, that'd be a good lineup. And also, I was looking at the market values for Teoscar. His is looking at 16.5, and then Solaire's looking at 13.9. So
I knew it was in that 14 to 17-ish range.
Yeah.
There, but who knows? I don't know how much the Jays want to spend, but I definitely could see them probably adding. If they add, I think 2 guys out of this list, it's a success for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's really funny? I was looking at the highest average annual values, and Otani's on there on the list. But he doesn't have an annual value on there, so we have just no idea what his price is going to be. So
that's what I mean. Otani is such a wild card. That's why we probably didn't put them in this vid list. We're going to do a whole separate video on Otani, guys. If you guys liked what you saw, hit a like button, hit the subscribe button down below. More off-season content coming. With that being said, Chris,
See you next time.
See you next time.